Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker. And today we're going to be talking about the Enduristan large tail pack, which is behind me, and we'll stop and go through that. We're also going to talk about, adjusting your Ivan's performance tune on your Z900RS for the... Oh, what the hell hit my tank? Oh, that's devastating. That must have been something off the road, because that was not there when we left. Oh, that really sucks. Oh well, such is life. We're gonna be whatever. It's a bike, I believe in using your bike. So, and then we're also going to talk about motorcycle technology again. I know I talk about it a lot, but it keeps happening. And yeah, we'll start with the motorcycle technology, I think, because the Enduristan tailpack will leave until the end, because I'm actually going to somewhere to stop. But yeah, I mean, if you've been watching YouTube, especially motorcycle YouTube, a while, you probably know who Do It With Dan is, right? And Do It With Dan is one of the people I have watched for the longest on motorcycles. Him, Baker X Derek, Suburban Delinquent for the longest time also, but mainly Baker X Derek, and then Do It With Dan, and Shade Tree for a long time, Shade Tree Surgeon as well. But Do It With Dan recently bought a Zero SRF, and I was really interested to see how he'd get on with it, because I rode one and I thought it was cool, but I also did make the statement at the time, I don't think I'd buy one just because they're so expensive and whatnot. But yeah, however, the point of the matter is, he's actually selling it, and he hasn't had it that long. And he made a video talking about why the bike was the way it is. I'll leave a link in the description or something, so you can have a watch of it too if you like. But I thought it was humorous, which I think was the whole point. And people who grow up of my generation, well, I'm 30, nearly 32. Actually, by the time this video comes out, I might be 32. And it's a word that used to get used a lot more to describe things not in a sexual way, and that word is gay. People used to say that like all of the time. I was actually a Polis in my well, I call it an estate, but over here they call it a subdivision where I live. There was a Polis there last night, and I was changing the oil in the V-Strom and whatnot, so I was just giving it a quick shakedown run afterwards, like I always do. And as I pulled it down the driveway, he was like, stopped, and I was like, what the hell is there a Polis looking at me for? And then he was like, nice bike. And then I liked him, so we're best friends now. Even though he didn't actually stop for longer than to say nice bike, he's actually my best friend. Which it's it's cool. You might not have a Polis friend, but I now have a Polis friend. So I bet you're all jealous that I have a friend who is Polis. Also, he probably said nice bike in the hope I'd be like, say something, or be like, it doesn't even have a plate, bro. I have a will run plate on my V-Strom. What the hell? I really need to sort out the clutch release. I don't know, is it the spring, but it might be down there. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so I mean, I found that very interesting that Dan is already selling it, because I haven't ever, I mean, he has done it in the past, but in a long time I haven't seen Dan do like a longer bike trip, which is honestly one of the main downsides I personally see to electric bikes. And it's very interesting for me watching this stuff, because personally, I think it's a cool technology. I think it's a good option. I still stand by the fact I really do not understand the point of hybrid. I think it does both things poorly. It's obviously not as lightweight, fast and fun as a like a normal bike engine, but then also it doesn't have as much instant torque and whatever else, and like silence as an electric engine, and it's also like super heavy. So I don't personally get the hybrid thing. I still stand by that. But Dan is among a long list of people I do know who have or have had electric bikes, and that list of have had is getting longer by the day, and the list of have is getting shorter, because you have to remember, luckily, thanks to YouTube, I have a lot of bike friends all over the world. So, I talk to them. I am always interested to what bikes they use and ride and whatnot. And it's always, especially with electric bikes, I do always try to ask, let me know if you sell it and let me know why. And it's kind of like what he said is like, you know, one of the things in his video was it doesn't make noise, and that's stupid or whatever else, and he didn't like it. So that's one thing. And you know, I don't think he didn't mention range, I don't think, but it was the sound and the expense. And you know, not many people are like me. I buy a bike with zero intention of making any money off it, right? Genuine. I don't understand why people buy bikes. You know, they mod the living daylights out of them, and then they're like, you know, use them, put 20,000 miles on them, and then they're like, oh, I lost money on my bike, and my changes are not worth any money. No one wants to pay for the mods that I did for me. That's a really cool Rolls Royce SUV. I can't remember what they're called. I mean, they're silly gooses though. You could buy so many bikes for the cost of that SUV. Obviously, personal opinion, but I would sooner be on this than be in that. If I ever owned one of those, I'd sell it and buy a house. That's not a joke, because they probably cost that much. I don't even... Oh, that was a big hole I was trying to avoid mostly, but... And speed limit. I love this bike. It's so nice. But, and I look at this. Look at how nice it is. It's so nice. Such a nice bike. Look at it. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the technology. So I don't think that EVs... I don't think they're it. You know, I think there's gonna probably be some other development, because the no noise thing is a big thing. Obviously, I mean, a lot of people spend a lot of money to make their bikes sound nice, make their cars sound nice, and I understand that some people hate that, but there's a lot of us who love that, right? So it's something that you kind of have to recognize, and also the expense. And the expense would be one thing if you plan on keeping it forever. Most people don't do that though. Like if I lived in a city, I'd buy an electric bike and I'd ride it until it stopped working completely, because it'd be perfect for commuting on and whatnot. They don't get hot in traffic and whatnot. They actually cool down in traffic, etc. And all of that would be really good for like a commuter in a city. However, if you do plan on selling your bikes and trading it in, those things are losing money hand over fist. There's a lot of places that sell them that won't even take them on trade-in, or offer you such a phenomenally low value, it's just not worth it. They're not holding their value at all. Either are electric cars, and that has a lot of people running away from them, and a lot of manufacturers change it back. And I just think we probably pushed it all a bit too early. You know what I mean? They try to up adoption at an unnatural pace, and I think this is the result of that. Which, look, I get it. You know, if you really need to get this stuff into the market and sold, fine. But I just can't see it. You know, you had all the tax incentives, you had all this, and pretty much all those are gone now. And people aren't buying them. I mean, I wouldn't buy one. And I'll be honest. When I changed my car recently, because I have a 120 mile a day commute, and when the weather is poor, I just don't want to be on the V-Strom because the weather can get really poor around here. So, you know, I bought an old Subaru Forester because it's easy to work on, they're pretty reliable, it has zero power, so I'm not going to get in trouble driving to work in it, and it has a radio so I can listen to podcasts. That's literally all I look for in a car. I don't care about cars anymore for commuting, just because they're just not bikes, you know what I mean? And anyone who has a bike will understand that, I think. Where was I? Yeah, so I don't see it, you know, and I like I said, I do find the whole EV, and the SRF was a fun bike, you know, it really was. I'm not taking away from the SRF being a fun, cool bike. I just don't see the adoption, you know what I mean? And I think it's stark that so many people are moving away from it. Now, in Dan's case, is Dan moving away from it because, you know, he makes videos for a living and it's not getting that many clicks or interest? Maybe. That's very possible. I don't know. I'm not on speaking terms with Dan, unfortunately, because I'd love to meet up with Dan at some point in real life, you know, maybe at the track or something. You know, it'd be weird for him, but for me, I've been watching him for at least 10 years. So for me, like, here's a person who I've known for a third of my life. But for him, it's like, who is this absolute psychopath who wants to talk to me? Which, as someone who makes videos, I completely understand that regard too. I personally try to be as available as possible, but also I have 1/100th. I've 1/100th of the subscribers he has, which is, you know, obviously a big difference if you look at like the amount of communication you're likely to be getting. So anyway, but yeah, I don't see it, you know. And you know, even when I make these videos, you know, talking about like hybrid bikes, whatever else, there's a lot of people who defend them. But a lot of those people who defend them, I do speak to afterwards, whether it be on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever else, or just in the comments. And none of them, let me tell you this, none of them have any plans on buying the hybrids. So they defend them to the hilt. They're like, no, it's going to be great. But then they don't buy one. So, you know, you ask the question why, and they're like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't make 100% sense for me right now to do that. And I'm like, interesting. Like, you can go pick up a Z900RS used for 7,000-8,000 in better condition than this one. I paid obviously a lot less than that because it was dropped lightly, and now it has a scratch on the tank, sadly, from something, probably road debris. But you know, I always find that interesting when people defend things to the hilt, but then they're like, well, you know, I think everyone else should get it, but not me. It's like, that's not how things work, you know what I mean? If I'm a big proponent of bikes because I love bikes. I'm a big proponent of Indy Ridge boots because I wear them all the time. You know, look, there's one right there, the ventilated one, and it's great. I'm a big proponent of Ultimate add-ons because I use them. Yeah, stuff like that. I don't understand people who are like, no, this is the best thing ever for everyone else, but not me. That always kind of concerns me a little bit because it's like, well, I think that's a bit disingenuous. You know what I mean? Anywho, oh yeah, so then the next thing is the Ivan's Performance mod, important one here. So when my bike was hot originally, and I was pretty much within the specifications of where it's supposed to be idle, but it made a huge difference because if I didn't start the bike and give it a little blip of throttle, it would immediately die. If I started and gave it a blip of throttle, it'd be fine. I turned up my idle, once the bike is like fully up to temperature, like 4 bars of temperature and then idling, and then I adjusted my idle up by like 200 RPM, issue disappeared. So if you have that issue with an Ivan's Performance mod and a Z900RS, get your bike up to full temperature, adjust your idle slightly, and that should hopefully disappear for you as well. And now on to the Enduristan large tailpack, which is literally what it's called online. Why did I buy it? Number one, I bought it because we were doing our Blue Ridge Parkway trip and I just wanted somewhere to have ease of access to my cameras and other important stuff that I could take on and off bikes quickly. And so far it's been great, and like I said, we'll be stopping very soon and I'll give you a proper rundown of it. It cost, I think it was about $180, and you know, the inevitable question is going to come up is why did I not go with like something Hepco and Becker, which I did try to go first, but I am a last minute person, and Hepco and Becker via Moto Machines was, you know, too far out delivery wise for me, so I went with the Enduristan. And the nice thing about the Enduristan is it pretty much does fit anything. And also, like I said, it was $180 delivered, and the most important bit for me is it is waterproof. And I did test that once or twice since, especially coming home from work one day, and I will say it is 100% definitely waterproof. If you ever want to jump something, by the way, come to this road, because you could 100% jump this, which I am not going to do because I don't think my back could handle it. We're going to go over it nice and slowly, but you could jump that if you wanted to. Yeah, we can go in here and I'll show off the Enduristan tailpack. You know, before we stop, whoa! Come on, guys. Who's putting all the glass there? I don't like glass. That's very rude. There's actually a wee slice in one of the tyres of this bike from when I first bought it, and I did run over some glass, and it's fine, you know, it's fine, but you don't want to be hitting glass on your bike, hey? It looked like glass, maybe it's ice. So here it is, the Enduristan large tailpack, and first things first I will say is it has one or two minor detractions, and I'll explain them first. But this one, as you can see, I had to loop around this. These little catches here, which hopefully you can see, they're really good on the V-Strom, but they're not big enough to fit this Hepco and Becker rear rack here, so you just loop around it. Now, it does say to take these off, and I found that nightmarish, so I didn't do it. It's really hard to get it over this, And then I was like, that's not really quick to get on and off. So all I did is I bound them up there, and they've been there a while, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that is what I would recommend doing, is just pinch them into the loop so they're not rubbing against anything. You do lose some interior volume having them there, but that is my personal preference. Then you do have this up top, and another piece here for storing things for quick access, which I do really like. There's 2 zips, and then you have, these were for adjusting my throttle cables actually, so I was out on the road testing them. A battery, a little storage pocket. This is movable, you can move it forward and back. Some stickers, and then another, like, I think this is ultra waterproof pocket in here, or maybe, sorry, that's the non-waterproof pocket, maybe that would make sense. But as you can see, lined, really good waterproofing. And honestly, other than the fact you can't really take these off too easy, even though you should be able to, and maybe they could be like slightly flexible for grabbiness to fit more things, I really like this thing. The other thing is, the zip's really annoying, because it's fine now because it's empty, but you can see here, right, that always happens. And if you have like stuff in there, sometimes it doesn't want to pop out. But I think for like $180, there you go, the storage volume you get, caught there again, the storage volume you get, and the fact it's waterproof, excellent. I would absolutely buy this again, and I did buy this. This is 100% cash I spent, and I've been really impressed with it. I just use the carry handle, but you can also get the straps with it. One other thing I would say that is a minor takeaway is if you ever have any Kriega stuff, Kriega with straps like this, they send you a little kind of like in-place straps that you can kind of fold these up and just tie them off real easy. I just pull them through here because I'm lazy. You can obviously store them another way too, but my personal preference is just doing this to stop them flooping around in the wind too much. But that's something else that maybe could be slightly better. But overall, Enduristan, I think, big thumbs up for the large tail pack. If you're looking for something that's kind of usable on lots of different bikes, definitely recommend this one. You could strap these onto almost anything. They're not super long, so I do think, you know, if you want to get this, have a rear rack, or if you have an adventure bike like the V-Strom, obviously that rear plate that comes on them would also be absolutely fine. But definitely you need something on the rear to strap it onto. I don't think it'd do a seat too well unless you can get those hooks in under the seat, but then they're going to be rubbing off something painted more than likely. So personally, I wouldn't do that, but otherwise, big thumbs up. One thing I did actually forget to mention is how structurally sound, I'm using my phone's camera so it's a bit poopy, sorry. Is how structurally sound the actual frame of this is, even when this is open. Like I accidentally left this open a few times when my camera's in there and then rode around with it. And it's really, the walls are really strong. So, and you can fit like milk and other accoutrements in here when you're doing some errands. So yeah, really good bag. But yeah, if you watched, thank you very much for watching. I think this is still recording. Yes, it is. If you have any interest in the Enduristan tail pack, like I said, I bought it off Revzilla, but I'm sure it's sold lots of other places. I have no affiliation with Revzilla or Enduristan, but I do recommend that. I think it's great. And yeah, one of the next videos you'll see is hopefully this bike on the track. If you didn't watch my last video, have a look, because I did kind of show my track orientation, and let me know what you think of that. And yeah, let me know what you think of everything else I said in the video. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. As always, very special thank you to all of my patrons. I love you lots. And yeah, until next time, adios. Outro crew. Look at all these empty office buildings. Interesting. I wonder what they're going to put here, because I can't really see much demand for offices here. But I could be wrong. I usually am. So we'll see. What is your area where you live currently just like all cool, not officey bull crapola? Or like, do you live somewhere that's actually nice and there's still lots of nature left? Let me know, because a lot of Clayton, where I live, is disappearing fast to stuff. I'd rather more nature survives, you know? And people need to live places, I get that, but you also need nature. Nature's important, in my opinion. For humans and animals, not just humans, but also animals need somewhere to live and whatnot. Yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know about your area, outro crew. Bye, outro crew.